Are you good, Amy? Good, good. All right, I call to order the Millersville Board of Commissioners regular meeting Tuesday, April 19th, 2022 at 5:30 p.m. If everyone would please stand for the invocation and the pledge. David?
Let's pray. Heavenly Father God, we're here to honor and glorify you, God, and look for your wisdom and guidance in all things that we do. And Lord, bless our city, and Lord, bless the businesses here, and use us, God, in ways well pleasing unto thee. Be with us, lead, guide, and direct, and be with those who serve our country and their families. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
There's your boy. Yeah, whatever. At this time, we're going to have employee recognition. I'm going to turn the meeting over to Steve.
Okay. Okay, so back when we were in the throes of bringing in a new city manager, and Holly was the interim city manager, and we were living in the trailer down below, and water was breaking, and the water was coming through the floor, and all the things were happening down there. It took a lot of dedication, but it's something that Holly Murphy has done over 25 years here at the city, so we were going to give her some recognition for that. It's just taken us a little while to get it all together. So, give me your attention. I want to read this House Joint Resolution number 368 from the state of Tennessee by Representative Kumar, Garrett, and Senators Roberts and Haley. A resolution to recognize and honor Holly Murphy for her dedicated service to the city of Millersville. Whereas it is appropriate that the members of the General Assembly should honor those Tennesseans who have performed with uncommon devotion and enthusiasm throughout their years of public service. And whereas Holly Murphy is one of such estimable individuals who has served the city of Millersville with distinction for more than 24 years. And whereas she began her tenure with the city of Millersville on September 9, 1996. When she came aboard as recorder for the city, 2 years later, she completed the program at Middle Tennessee State University's Tennessee Certified Municipal Clerk Institute. And whereas ever committed to excellence, Ms. Murphy met all statutory requirements set forth in the Tennessee Code, annotated to become a certified municipal finance officer on December 31st, 2012. And whereas throughout her time at the city of Millersville, Holly Murphy has been trusted to serve as interim city manager on multiple occasions, including for an 18-month stint that concluded on September 28, 2020. She successfully fulfilled the duties of city manager, all while maintaining the obligations of her permanent roles. And whereas during the 18-month period, Ms. Murphy deftly navigated the coordination of a new city hall construction project, hiring a new city manager, conducting financial audits, and generally keeping the city running, completing various project compliance on time and under budget. Whereas she concurrently serves as Chief Financial Officer, Recorder, and Assistant City Manager of the City of Millersville, in which capacity is earned with respect and admirations of her colleagues and a grateful public for the superior quality of her work. And whereas Murphy has been duly recognized for her service to the City of Millersville over the years. In 2007, she was named Employee of the Year. In 2014, she was presented a certificate of appreciation by the Mayor of Millersville. And in 2016, she was a recipient of the Distinguished Service Award from the Tennessee Association of Municipal Clerks and Recorders. Whereas Holly Murphy grew up in Cross Plains, an Orlando community. She is the daughter of the late Ronnie Blackwell, a successful musician who appears on the original recording of Rocky Top, and Charlene Blackwell of Portland. And whereas after earning her diploma from East Robertson High School in 1982, Ms. Holly Murphy graduated from the CR Institute of Tennessee with an emphasis in court reporting and business, and completed an internship with Sumner County Criminal Court. And whereas in 1983 she began her career with Transworld Artists, Inc., where her responsibilities included secretarial, receptionist, general office duties. She dealt with promoters and various music artists, packaged promotional materials, and coordinated tours. And whereas during the 1980s and the 1990s, Holly Murphy worked for various companies, including Beneficial Financial Corporation, Stagecoach VIP, Inc., Hemphill Brothers Coach and Company, before finding her home at the city of Millersville in 1996. And whereas throughout her many successes, Miss Murphy has been grateful for the love and companionship of her mother, her sister Audrey Norris, her son Josh Murphy, her daughter-in-law, and two grandchildren. Whereas Holly Murphy exemplifies the spirit and allegiance to the family and community that are characteristic of a true Tennessean. And whereas throughout her estimable career, Miss Murphy has demonstrated the utmost professionalism, ability, and integrity, winning the sincere respect and admirations of her colleagues. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the House of Representatives of the 112th General Assembly of the State of Tennessee, the Senate concurring, that we commend Holly Murphy for her outstanding service to the city of Millersville these last 24 and a half years, extending our best wishes for much continued success. Signed by the Speaker of the House, Speaker of the Senate, Representative Johnny Garrett, Representative Sabi Kumar, Senator Kerry Roberts, Senator Farrell Haley, and the Governor of the great state of Tennessee, Bill Lee. Congratulations, Ms. Holly Murphy. These are your... Y'all give her a hand, please.
Speech.
Don't take that ear away.
You may not have said this earlier. If you're going to speak tonight, you need to sign this. Henry? You can charge back on. Time comes, okay?
If there's anyone that wishes to speak, now'd be a perfect time to sign up while they're getting back up here. Just sign your name up there. That was a long speech.
Was it two senators and two representatives, what do you expect? Ollie asked me to make it longer.
What's that?
You wanted it to be longer, didn't you?
That was nice. I know a lot about you. Some great things.
All right, we're going to get back to business. Item number 4, approval of minutes of the March 15th, 2022 regular commission meeting. Call for a motion.
Move that we approve the minutes of the March 15th, 2022 regular commission meeting as presented.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any corrections or any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Item number 5, approval of the March 2022 financial report. Call for a motion.
Move that we approve the March 2022 financial report as presented.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Item number 6, public hearing on ordinance 22-771 to rezone the back portion of 7216 Bethel Road from general commercial to heavy commercial to accommodate future development of a campground or RV park. I'll now open for public hearing. If there's anyone wishing to speak, just step up and name and address.
I'm Billy Pegram. Me and my brother and sister are the owners that beside that property, and we wasn't aware of the zoning being changed because on the sign it just said for well, it didn't say what the zoning was, and then on the time, I wasn't aware of it being at 5 o'clock, so it was kind of hard for me to get here. And that zoning of being a RV park and stuff is right at my house. I've been there 27 plus years, and I'm not very happy with it. I don't know what can be done about it. I feel like there should be more than one sign, and it should have on the sign what it's for, and it should have like for an RV park, and not being very vague like it was. Is that the way the city is run?
Well, I mean, we, as far as I know, Andrew posted with a sign for rezoning.
Yeah, but rezoning, I mean, that's like, I know in Nashville, they put on there rezoning, but it also, they send a letter out on all my properties in Nashville. They send a letter out to me, and they put on there like what the zoning's about and what it's for. They don't, like if it's for an RV park, they say it's for an RV park.
Did we contact the property owners?
No,
But
I wasn't contacted.
I was talking to Andrew.
We send out letters to anyone that's joining property, so I can't, we don't send them registered, they're just US mail first class.
I never got a letter. No. Did Bridget, did
No,
you get a, did you get a
no,
letter?
wait a minute, no, wait a minute, y'all. We ain't gonna do that. This gentleman's gonna talk, and then if y'all want, if you wanna talk, you'll have to sign that piece of paper right there.
I'm just wondering if you got a letter.
Don't, wait a minute, don't talk to her, talk to us.
Okay. Well, I was just wondering if any of my other neighbors got a letter. I didn't get one.
Again, was letters sent out to the adjoining property owners?
Letters were sent out, and then we also post a sign on the property, so I can't say whether or not people got it or not. That whole reason we put the sign out, which is required by statute, is to have a stopgap or a additional means for people to be notified that there's zoning action. Our signs are generic in nature, they don't specifically say what the zoning is gonna be for, what the change is, it just says that there's a zoning hearing on the property.
When do we normally put the signs out?
30 days prior.
So has the sign been on the property for 30 days?
I can't answer the question, I sent out one of the other people who put signs out.
Is it 30 days prior to the first reading or 30 days?
It's prior to the planning commission meeting, not the city.
Oh, okay.
So we do not put out signs for rezoning?
We did. The sign was put out prior to the planning commission meeting, not the city commission
So
meeting.
it was way before.
Was it still,
Before it came to us.
was the sign still there? To your knowledge, is the sign still there?
The sign is not there now. It's gone. And it only had on there for rezoning, and it didn't say anything about what it was. It didn't say anything about these little bitty, teeny tiny homes.
That's not what it's, I don't know which property you're talking about, but that's,
That's all.
It's,
Not the
it's
property
my
we're talking
neighbor
about.
Ken Carter's property.
No, you're on a total different.
What's on the, what's
You're on
on?
a total, we're talking about 7216 Bethel Road. We haven't got to Wilson Lane yet.
Okay, but that's what I'm talking about.
Well, that's on down the agenda. This has to do with 7216 Bethel Road, which is across from the campground that's there now.
Is that the property that you're complaining
No, that's
about?
not what I'm talking
No, he's
Okay.
talking about item number 14,
Okay.
Wilson
So-
Cycle Lane.
Probably what you need to do is there's not a public hearing, I don't think.
No.
It's a first reading.
It's first
There's
reading.
only a first reading, so there's not even a public hearing for the one that you're talking about. Now, you're welcome to speak in public comments, but we haven't even got to the process of putting a sign out, as far as I know, for that property.
Not for the public hearing. Yeah,
Yes.
Mr. Tackett actually said he's very
So-
close to the property.
So, we're talking about a totally different piece of property than the one you're talking about.
I mean, you guys have got me like totally confused too.
We're-
Because there was a sign out there.
And that was for the planning commission. It goes, the way the process works, any type of rezoning goes before the planning commission for a recommendation only. They recommend it to this board. This board sees it on the first reading, it either passes or it doesn't. After that, 30 days later, the second meeting happens, which there will be a public hearing for. There is also a notice sent out for that public hearing, which is the time the public would come and speak about it.
That's why you probably haven't got a letter yet.
So the process of rezoning the property that you're talking about is at least 30 days away from now. We're not even having a public hearing on that property tonight.
Yeah, and there'll be a public hearing on that
There
one.
will. And like I said,
Well, I
you
mean,
will,
I was told that it was passed.
no,
kinda.
it went through the planning commission, and the planning commission recommended it to this board for rezoning. There was never a vote taken to rezone the property. The planning commission only recommends to either rezone or not to rezone based on the property and what the applicant is asking to put there. Then this board will make the decision on whether it's rezoned or not rezoned. So we haven't even had one reading on the rezoning of that property as of yet.
And when does that happen?
The first reading will be tonight in just a little while.
And do I get up and talk then, or do I talk now?
Public comment.
Well, you can only talk about 7216 Bethel Road now in this public
So you
hearing.
want me to sit back down and then get back up in a few minutes, or how you?
There
want me
is
to do
no
it?
public hearing for the one tonight. You can listen to the vote, and then in citizens' comments, if you have something you wanna say, we'll be happy to listen to you then. But what I'm trying to say is you don't even know if it's gonna pass first reading. So you may not have anything you wanna say. If
I
you know-
probably have a lot to say, but, I mean, does anybody want little tiny houses next to theirs? But, I'm just saying.
I couldn't, that's a question that we're gonna move to later. We're talking about
Okay.
7216 right now.
All right, we'll go to 7216 and I'll sit and listen for it.
All right, appreciate it. Is there anyone else that would wish to speak on 7216 Bethel Road? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing on ordinance 22-771. Item number 7, second reading of ordinance 22-771 to rezone the back part of 7216 Bethel Road from general commercial to heavy commercial to accommodate future development of a campground or RV park. Call for a motion.
Move that we approve on second reading the ordinance 22-771 to rezone the back part of 7216 Bethel Road from general commercial to heavy commercial to accommodate future development of campground or RV park.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Discussion, is the map included on this? Is that part of the ordinance?
The ordinance that I gave a copy to the city manager should have had that map on it, along with the legal description for two parcels in Robertson County.
You have the legal description?
The legal
Yeah, I have the
description's on
legal
there.
description. I have the map also.
Yeah.
We will, we'll attach these two, with this ordinance going forward.
Okay.
So we're only rezoning the back portion here.
That's
That is correct. The front section will remain general commercial. There's gonna be 3 or 4 commercial lots in front. So the back portion, would be rezoned heavy commercial, and then the petitioner will have to return to the planning commission for site plan approval and also conditional use approval if they would like to operate a campground in the back section of the property.
I drove by there. I noticed some ground being moved, dirt being moved. Has there been a permit issued for that?
I'm unaware of anything at 7216 being done. That's the property west of the interstate.
That's probably I'm talking about.
They cleaned up from the
Okay,
logging.
is that what it
Yeah,
was?
that's, yeah, that property's been, they removed the trees and, cleaned up the property, in order to get it to this point.
All right.
So once they come with the site plan, they'll have to, bring the proper permits.
Okay, that's all I got.
Is Mr. Tackett, is he the owner of this 7216?
Mr. Tackett's LLC is the owner of the property. That's correct.
Has, I noticed he's come up in discussion on this board a few times. On the east side of the interstate, I've noticed that there's some dirt being moved. Has he have permits for that?
Currently, Mr. Tackett doesn't have any permits for the property that's east of the interstate, but I would caution that while he may be associated with both parcels, he's only the owner of the property at 7216, which is west of the interstate. East of the interstate has different ownership, so I think it might be unfair to compare the two properties in what is either permitted or unpermitted at this time.
So who is the owner east of the interstate?
I believe it's Tackett Trucking? Yeah. Yeah. Tackett Trucking, and he is not a principal of Tackett Trucking.
But when you've gone up there to give out citations, who has run you off the property, told you to get off the property?
I think it'd be unfair for me to answer that question because that's not the piece of property that's being discussed this evening.
Tommy, the only thing we can talk about tonight is 7216 Bethel Road.
Well, I understand that, but there's been a lot of controversy, any dealings that he's been involved in.
Understood, but
But he's doing everything he's supposed to be doing with this property, correct?
I'm sorry?
He's doing everything he's supposed to be doing with this property, correct?
Yeah, I can only address matters related to 7216.
Understood.
So he's followed all the compliances with 7216.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
That's all I have.
Is there anything further? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. It'll be a roll call vote. Commissioner Long,
Abstain?
Vice Mayor Bell.
Yes.
I vote yes. Commissioner Gregory.
Aye.
Commissioner Templin.
Aye.
Motion carries by a vote of 4-0. Item number 8, public hearing on ordinance 22772 to amend the ordinance 21758, the 2021-2022 fiscal year budget as previously amended by ordinance 21764 and 21758 to reflect an annual budget debt service payment for the lease purchase of body cameras for the police department. I will now open it up for public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak? It has to be on body cams.
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
I was here for another option, but I would like to have that as well.
Alrighty.
My name's Dr. Bridget Augustino.
Speak to the microphone, please.
My name is Dr. Bridget Augustino. Live at 2044 Wilson Lane. I'm a criminologist. And I just happened to see that was on there. I would just like to clarify if there are policies and procedures that have been adopted for the use of body cams in Millersville.
Our police chief would have to answer that.
And will they
Dustin?
be made public?
Yes, they will be public, and they are being processed right now because we haven't bid these out yet. Well, this is just for the budget. They will come up for bid later on in this agenda.
So
But,
the policies and
but
procedures?
the policies and procedures are being developed as we speak. We're still 6 months out before they arrive, so we'll be developing those as we go.
And will those be put up for review?
Yes.
Before they are finalized?
They will be here, they will be available for the public to see when they're finalized.
And make comment on?
I believe so.
That's great. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing. Item number 9, second reading on ordinance 22-772 to amend ordinance 21758, the 2021-22 fiscal year to reflect an annual budget debt service payment for the lease purchase of body cameras for the police department. Call for a motion.
Move that we approve on second reading ordinance 22-772, which is to amend ordinance 21-758, the 2021-2022 fiscal year to reflect an annual budget debt service payment for the lease/purchase of body cameras for the police department.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. There'll be a roll call vote. Commissioner Long?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Bell?
Aye.
I vote aye. Commissioner Gregory?
Aye.
Commissioner Templey?
Aye.
Motion carries by a unanimous vote. Item number 10, public hearing on ordinance 22-773 to amend ordinance 21-758, the 2021-22 fiscal year budget to reflect a lump sum payment to the Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System to fund the cost of living benefits for retirees. I will now open for public comments, if there's anyone wishing to speak. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Item number 11, first reading of ordinance 22-773 to amend ordinance 21758, the 2021-22 fiscal year budget to reflect a lump sum payment to the Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System to fund the cost of living benefits for retirees. Call for a motion.
Move that we approve on first reading ordinance 22-773, which is to amend ordinance 21-758, the 2021-2022 fiscal year budget to reflect a lump sum payment to the Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System to fund the cost of living benefits for Millersville retirees.
Second it.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Those opposed? Item number 12, resolution 22R-07 for the American Rescue Plan Act allocation. Call for a motion.
Move that we approve resolution 22-R-07 of the American Rescue Plan Act allocation to spend the spend allocation plan is located at Exhibit A, which is attached here to the agenda.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Steve, would you like to elaborate on that?
Yeah, let me talk to that for a second. On Exhibit A, we're required to provide to both the state and the Department of Treasury, U.S. Treasury, our government services that we will provide using this money. And you'll see that a good deal of that money is in stormwater projects, specifically about $500,000 in the Massacre Creek Williamson Road stream bank stabilization. We are receiving $2,008,434 in two separate payments of $1,004,227 each. So over the period of time between now and I believe we've got till 2020, is it 26? 26 that we will spend this money, and the Exhibit A is how we've allocated that to be spent in stormwater, sewer, street, general fund, and you can see the total there of $2,008,453. As we go into the work session for next month, we'll break down these costs a little bit more to the commissioners to see exactly where each of these projects are going to wind up. Also, on the Massacre Creek Williamson Road project, we'll be bidding that tonight as well.
Are we planning on giving some money to the employees here because of the pandemic and stuff, and them working here during the pandemic and keeping the city moving, police, fire, and people in the office?
That's
they all
correct.
kept everything going. Are we planning on giving them some of this?
So during, this money was appropriated during the pandemic for these specific reasons, is to pay specifically hazardous pay for employees, volunteer firemen, reservists, our police force. Of course, we don't have any medical workers except EMTs that work for us through the county. But in the general fund, you'll see that we've allocated funds for those folks, the city hall and the remodel of the fire department, as well as the addition to the fire hall at Station 2. And then we're also doing the comprehensive master plan under that general fund. So yes, that's the plan, is to develop a plan, and I'm hoping to get that out to you all at the work session to show how we're going to spend that money for hazardous pay.
Well, I appreciate the city during those times. In my lifetime, I've never seen such a disease come around. I know it's in our lifetime as it was. It affected me and my family. I know it affected your family, but the city kept open and kept functioning to where we could go forward. The city didn't shut down, and it was good that our citizens, or the employees of this city, kept it going. And I appreciate that very much. I know it wasn't easy. I know everybody wasn't here at one time, but you kept it going. So I appreciate what the city's done during the pandemic and keeping us functioning as a city.
Anyone else? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Item number 13, first reading of ordinance 22774, an ordinance to amend ordinance 21758, the 21-22 fiscal year budget to reflect the actual revenue and expenses related to the 2022 general obligation bond and the American Rescue Plan Relief and Recovery Funds. Call for a motion.
Move that we approve on first reading ordinance 22-774, which amends ordinance 21-758, which is the 2021-2022 fiscal year budget to reflect the actual revenue and expenses related to the 2022 general obligation bond and the American Rescue Plan Relief and Recovery Funds.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Item number 14, first reading of ordinance 22775 to rezone 2055 Wilson Cycle Lane from rural residential to heavy commercial, specifically identified as Sumner County map 118 parcel 002.01 and Robertson County map 125 parcels 224 and 225 from rural residential to heavy commercial for the purpose of obtaining a conditional use permit to operate a short-term rental development. Call for a motion.
Move that we approve on first reading ordinance 22-775, which is to rezone 2055 Wilson Cycle Lane from rural residential to heavy commercial, specifically identified as Sumner County Map 118, parcel 2.01, and Robertson County Map 125, parcels 224 and 225, from rural residential to heavy commercial for the purpose of obtaining a conditional use permit to operate a short-term rental development.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I will call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Number 15, first reading of ordinance 22. When we get to citizens' comments, sir. First reading of ordinance 22-776 to rezone 1065 Woody Lane from rural residential to multifamily, specifically identified as Sumner County Map 118, parcels 109.00, 110.00, 110.01, 182.00, 183.00, from heavy commercial to multifamily residential. Call for a motion.
Move that we approve on first reading ordinance 22-776, which is to rezone 1065 Woody Lane from rural residential to multifamily, specifically identified as Sumner County Map 118, parcels 109, 110, and 110.01, 182, 183, from heavy commercial to multifamily residential.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I'd like Mr. Prairie to explain that a little bit, folks here. We've gone over this once, but I'd like to hear it another time if I may.
Sure. So the petitioner approached the city about applying for a permit to construct a structure to replace a structure that had burned down. At the time, I informed the petitioner that due to the zoning of the property and the existing structure being an existing non-conforming structure, he would not be able to replace the structure. The parcel also had another 5 or 6 non-conforming structures that had existed for years on the property. So we put our heads together and we said, how can we make this a workable situation for the petitioner? The only way to do that was to get the whole parcel into compliance, rezone the whole parcel as multifamily residential to make those non-conforming structures conforming as far as the zoning ordinance went. Another issue that we had was there was a city of Millersville sewer easement that ran across the property. As we started this process, we found out that there was no plat for the property, just a bunch of parcel ID numbers, but no actual plat for us to approach the planning commission with. So the petitioner spent the money to have a plat redrawn to show all the boundary lines, city of Millersville sewer easement, location of all the structures on the property. So this is more so a cleanup or bringing a parcel into compliance that's been non-conforming for years. So if Mr. Andrews asked to put any more structures on the property, he would have to go to the planning commission to get approval. So even if his rezone is approved, that's not carte blanche to start putting more and more structures on the property.
So he's asking for this change from rural residential to multifamily just to meet the criteria of the city.
Yes, to meet the criteria for a multi-family parcel.
But
Thank
once,
you.
but once we pass it to get it into compliance, if he wants to put any more, he will have to come before the planning committee.
That is correct. You have to come before the planning commission and present a revised site plan showing any additional structures on the property since it is multi-family residential.
Andrew, he will still have to come in front of the planning committee on this issue, correct? With his plat? Or is it, does this,
I believe he already has.
Yeah,
He's already been to the planning commission. Okay, all right.
That's all I have.
No,
Okay.
not any questions.
Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Item number 16, Resolution 22R-06, to repeal and replace Resolution 22R-04 to allow cost of living benefits for the City of Millersville employees through the Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System. Call for a motion.
Move that we approve Resolution 22-R-06, repealing and replacing Resolution 22R-04 to allow cost of living benefits for the City of Millersville employees through the Tennessee Consolidated Retirement System.
Second the motion.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Just want to say that the reason we're doing this is were asked to use the TCRS format for the resolution, so we just had to go back in. It's pretty much the same information. It's in the different formats what they asked for, so that's the only reason we had to do this. So this was a redo, but only because we just changed the format. So this will be able to go into effect 1 July, and any cost of living allowances or COLA increases for our retirees going forward will be in effect. So that's a good win for our employees.
Yes, it is.
And the employees, they the one that pays into this program for the most part, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Anything further? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Item number 17, bid for Mansker's Creek Stream Bank stabilization along Williamson Road. One bid received. Also approved city manager to sign this agreement, as well as approve any change orders. Call for a motion.
Move that we accept the one and only and best and lowest bid for the Williamson Road Stabilization Project, and also allow the city manager to sign the agreement as well as approve change orders.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Any questions on that change orders? Let me just say this, that project started several years ago, and as time has gone by, there's been more rain events, more floods, and that road stabilization needs to be done quickly. The more we get out there and look at it, the more problems we have, so we never know if we're ever going to finish that. So there may be some change orders as we go, as we get into the crux of it. So we will be in a build, design, operation on that until it's complete.
When will you start work on that?
We've got one other project ahead of this, but I'd say 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, that over there.
Did you
next
go?
Yeah, next to the road, that bank underneath the pavement, part of it. Yeah, so we need that.
Anything else?
That's it.
Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Item number 18, bids for body cameras. Received 2 bids, Motorola and Axon, and approved city manager to sign this agreement. Call for a motion.
Move that we approve the Motorola bid, which is the lowest and best bid, and approve the city manager to sign this agreement.
Second it.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Just to let everybody know, the Motorola, or the Axon bid, there was a $60,000 difference. We chose the lower one because of the $60,000 and it's just as good a unit as Axon has, so I think it's a good deal for our police department.
Anything else? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Item number 19, report and acknowledgement of City of Millersville debt obligation. Guess that's you, Steve.
That's the document I gave you, just to let you know, and acknowledge for the record that we do have this debt obligation on the bond that we just, released for that, 2.750.
You
So,
don't need any action.
All I just need you, to just make a vote that you acknowledge this, debt obligation.
All right, I'll call for a motion.
I move that we acknowledge this debt obligation.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Item number 21, or item number 20, I'm sorry. Review and approve city manager position, posting, and salary.
Okay, the document I gave you, if you look right down at the bottom, the salary was changed for the position to advertise the position. And we had a different number in there at one time, so I just need you to approve this new document so I can put this out on advertising.
Move that we approve and accept the city manager position, posting, and salary information provided there.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Item number 21 is citizens' comments. Anyone wishing to speak is more than welcome to step up.
Well, Aaron, what good is from what I've seen, they're just little bitty, what square footage are these little houses?
I really don't know that they have not presented a site plan. A rezoning does not mean that there's gonna be an RV park there or a campground or anything else. They're asking for rezoning to see if it's feasible for them to do what it is they wanna do. Before they are allowed to do anything, they will have to they will have to go before the board, the planning commission. First, they've gotta get it rezoned. Then they'll have to go through the planning commission for a site plan approval. At that time, that board can put whatever restrictions that they feel like it may need, far as barriers for site, buffer zones, whether it needs bathhouses, whether it needs restrooms. There's a whole list of stuff that they can require. So basically, when you have somebody come into the city and they're looking to do something, they find a piece of property, they ask the city if they're willing to rezone the property for whatever it is they wanna do. And at that time, the city either says yes or no, because if the city says no, there's no need in them even trying to buy the property or developing any type of plan or site plan. So this is the very early stages of anything that would go on up there. Like I said, it still has to go through another meeting. There will be a public hearing, at which time the entire public is welcome to come and speak. Then there will be a vote on the second reading. If it is rezoned, at that time, the people that are looking to buy the property, if they move forward, they will put together a site plan. And then it will be up to the planning commission to either grant that site plan, make changes to that site plan. And the planning commission does take input from the surrounding property owners. You do have a chance to voice your opinions at that board as well. So, like I said, this is the very early stages of anything that might happen up there. It's
I'm
just
trying to see what good it is for the city to have something like that, like people, so you basically calling it a campground, like where it's not even gonna have bathrooms in the facilities that they're gonna be
What-
sleeping in?
I don't know. They hadn't presented any type of site plan yet, so there's no way to know until they do that. So, like I said, it has to be rezoned before they're gonna put the money into any type of development plan to see if they can make it work. The rezoning is the first process in that process of getting somewhere. You know, properties are zoned certain things, and not everything that a certain property is zoned will fit on that piece of property. That hillside over there is residential, but it'd be challenging to build a house on it. So, like I said, this is just to see, they may try to put something together and they may realize that the infrastructure to get in there for 17 or 18 lots, I believe is what they was looking for. They may figure out that they're gonna spend way more money to develop 17 camping lots than it's worth.
Not if they're not gonna have any toilets in it. I mean, it'd be very easy to do what we're gonna do.
Well, they will have to have some type of sanitation system. This city's not gonna approve something that doesn't have a, somewhere, some type of bathroom, whether.
Y'all's sanitation is on a pump, so that's pretty easy to put a bathhouse and a pump in for a few, almost like wooden tents, you know?
It is.
And then I have all these people running all over my property drunk and everything, cause you're talking about, basically what you're talking about is a bunch of, it's not gonna be a clientele that's gonna be there, it's gonna be anything like an Airbnb
That is exactly what it's gonna be.
it's gonna be an Airbnb, yes, but it's not gonna be an Airbnb of any kind of good. It's gonna be an Airbnb of nothing good for this city. Nothing good for me.
Can I just say something? I run short-term rentals myself. I can tell you with the Airbnb that we have that houses 22 to 30 people, that's hard. But we police it really well. Anytime you get into smaller, tiny homes, one-bedroom studios, whatever, you don't get the loud as, it's not near as bad as something that houses somebody in one space. And your Airbnb reviews are really important. You know, I know that I'm cautious because I want to protect my investment, and I make sure that I check their reviews, and, you know, I let them know that there's ground rules. And so I don't think you're going to have the problems that you think you're going to have.
Well, I'm very familiar with Airbnb too, because I have rentals.
Hmm. We do too.
I know a lot of people with Airbnbs.
Mhm.
I have been involved in the construction of it.
Mhm.
I'm a contractor, so I'm very familiar. But the little tiny home thing
Mhm.
is totally different. And then if you're talking something that doesn't even have a toilet in it or a shower in it, you're talking very primitive. And so you're getting into like a campground thing. And this is like next to my house and all my property. We own about somewhat of over 100 acres there. That we own the better part of all the property in there.
Hmm.
But, unfortunately, right now, my mom is in a facility and she's deteriorating very rapidly, and we're kinda all tied up at the moment, and we're not in a position to buy Ken out, so that's just where it is. But,
Understood.
The one thing that I
two
can,
properties go well together, two properties go very well together, but it's just, that's just not where we're at. And, but I can't see no good of that for the city, or for me. I mean, you put yourself in my shoes, I have a pretty good house.
Mhm.
You take and put my house somewhere else, it's $800,000. You put it there,
and I don't think you have one. I own 22 acres in this city, and it's right next to a trailer park that has 110 trailers in it. I don't ever have a problem out of any of them. They never come on my property.
But you're a trailer park. That's a trailer park. That's different from people that are coming in from other places to an Airbnb.
There's a place right near the top of the ridge that is 200.
I'm just
Wait a minute.
saying
I sit here and listen to you. Now you listen to me.
Okay, I will listen to you.
There's a place up here at the top of the ridge that is about 240 square feet. I know the gentleman very well. It's an Airbnb. It's rented out for 240 nights a year at $70 a night. And I don't think our police department or fire department has ever been on the site. Has absolutely no trouble with anybody that ever comes in there. They come in, you don't even know they're there. Not everybody is out to do mischief. You know, if you go to Las Vegas, you'll find these little campgrounds right there on the main strip, and there's people that live in there.
You have your opinion, and I have mine.
Yes, sir.
You know, you put yourself in my shoes.
I've
of
been in your
approving
shoes.
That, and are they gonna widen the road? I mean, we still have 12 foot of asphalt that we all have to like get off on the side.
And I'm sure
we all
that
have
will come through the
opinions.
planning commission.
And y'all have the control of doing what you can do. I'm just saying, what does that do good for the city? You know, what does that do good for the city?
Well, I don't think we are 5 people that's gonna sit up here and dictate if somebody owns 50 acres and they have a vision of something they wanna do on that property. Who are we to tell them that they're not allowed to do that? Last time I checked, this is a free country.
Yeah, very free.
So,
You know.
like I said, I grew up next door working on this farm next door over here. And the people that bought it want to put an apartment complex in there. Is that what I would like to see there? Not particularly, but they have the right to build it if that's what they want to do. If I don't want it built there, I should have bought the property and kept it as a farm, but I didn't choose to do that. So, like I said, there's a lot of steps that they have to go through before they build anything up there.
Basically, what you're saying is probably, I don't stand much of a chance of stopping.
No, sir, I'm not saying that at all.
That's basically kind of what you're saying.
No, it ain't. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying come to the meetings. The planning commission is a 7-member board. Sometimes they go totally opposite of what this board does. So come, talk to them professionally, and like I said, they may address some of your concerns by putting certain restrictions on the property owner to make him do certain things.
So, the planning commission has already passed one?
No, sir, the planning commission hadn't passed anything. They recommended a positive recommendation to rezone the property. That's all they did. They looked at the property and said, would this concept work on that piece of property? Then we vote on the rezoning. Then the people that are looking to buy the property will have to develop a site plan. That's when they have to jump through all the hoops. That's when they have to do all the buffers and anything else. And I can tell you, Andrew is pretty well up on that, and he's pretty sharp on it, and he don't miss much. So, all I'm saying is I would just be patient, come to the meetings, say what it is you have to say, and things may work different than what you think they're gonna work.
I would hope they work different than what I've seen so far and hear so far, or the bathhouse and everything. Sure.
Well, like I said, I don't know what their plans are, as far as a bathhouse or a restrooms. I know if you have a campground, you have to have facilities on it. So I don't know. I don't know if these houses are coming, will have their own septic system for each one. I just don't know. We haven't got to that stage yet.
I just don't know what a campground offers, up here, you know, to be honest with you.
Well, that one right down the road right here was voted the best small campground in the United States. So,
Well,
something.
You talking about right down here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but that's an RV campground.
Yeah,
run
it's
by
right.
KOA.
No, it ain't run by KOA, and it's right next to houses and other businesses, and they don't ever have any problems out of it.
Yeah, okay. Well,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Anyone else? Yes, ma'am.
Oh, go ahead, honey, go ahead, I'll wait later.
You gotta watch him, he's fast.
Well, she's loud, she's.
Fast. Hello again. Let me restate my name.
What's your address?
2044 Wilson Lane. So, I would like to address the zoning on there. I know this is premature and not the public hearing. However, I have hiked that property. I live across the street there, and, let me just point out that it's a single lane street. Cannot accommodate the traffic, but that's not my primary concern. Primary concern is I've hiked there at least 100 times over the last 4 years. There are 3 sets of endangered species there, and a habitat survey will have to be conducted, underwritten, submitted to Robertson County and Sumner County before this can move forward. So I've contacted TWRA as well as Global Solutions affiliates who do the work for this area, and I would expect to see that the city would tend to this as well.
The city is willing to do whatever we're supposed to do to get to the right decision.
Is the city going to ensure that a habitat survey is undertaken?
If a habitat survey is required by TRA or Tennessee Wildlife Management, the applicant will be paying for that, and will have to do that, yes.
Right, so which will significantly delay this process.
It will.
So, had I not stood up here, who would have been standing up for the,
Andrew, right there.
so, hi, Andrew, you've been very good to me, thank you.
Oh.
And quite honestly, most people have not ever been down on that bridge. The Carters are infamously private, and they're good friends of mine. Holy single sales.
I've done work for them for 20 years.
Oh, yeah, no, we're very close family friends. But there are, we have spotted, my daughter has a doctorate in wildlife biology, so we've done a lot of hiking over there. There are creekside salamanders. There have been 3 sightings of gray wolves. Okay, across on that ridge back there. Also the quail, which are a highly endangered species, the white bobtail birds.
The ones the hunters hunt.
Yes, so, absolutely, so nobody's ever done this on this property over there, so it has to be raised, it has to be addressed. And also, when the zoning letters do go out, I do hope that the property that's been newly built behind the trailer park, with their beautiful big back porch, they'll be looking at all these cabins, that they will be notified as well. I'm not sure where their final boundary line is, but out of respect for them, I don't even know them.
I'm pretty sure it's every property that adjoins that
Yeah.
parcel, or any part of
And
that
these people
parcel.
would be looking in their back window, for sure, but absolutely. So what do we do to make sure that this habitat survey is undertaken?
Basically, you just come to the meetings. The planning commission meets the second Tuesday of every month. This board meets the third Tuesday of every month. We have a work session on the first Monday of every month. And the BZA, which is who would grant the special exception, if it ever gets to that, they meet on the first Tuesday of every month.
And just.
All of that's on the website.
Yes, sir, and I'm very familiar with that website. I've redesigned my own property when I moved and purchased as well. So in addition to that, at what point in this process would the city make, decisions about the widening of a road and access to this spot? This commercial spot?
Andrew will make recommendations to the planning commission. That might be a requirement of the planning commission to widen the road at the cost to the applicant.
Okay.
And there's a lot of studies that have to be done. The
There-
fire
yeah,
department,
we're-
the fire
this is-
department.
But mostly, like I said, brings to attention the habitat survey is, I've contacted the people and they should be, I don't know what that process is, if they then write letters to you or.
I think Mr. Tackett that was here earlier for the rezoning of the other, I think that's been going on for 8 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know that, but.
I mean,
the habitat
seriously.
survey
Nothing-
doesn't take that long because you have to take into consideration the season.
The habitat
Animals.
takes about a year.
Yeah, which the animals are migrating and hibernating and so forth, so.
And anybody that doesn't want, I would encourage you to show up and voice your opinion every time you have a chance to voice your opinion. And, don't think you won't, you might not change the mind of some people, But you never know, you might change the mind of the guy looking to do it, cause he might not wanna jump through all
Yeah,
the hoops.
he's got a lot of cost.
A lot of cost.
Unbelievable cost,
So-
and there are, the 3 new houses that are aligned on our road, which I was a part of the sale of that property, I don't, there are lots of little children on that curve and so, right there, I mean, it's just, there's a lot of things to take into consideration, so I'll definitely be back to voice
And I
on
can-
those along the way.
I can guarantee you that everybody on this board will listen to everything you have to
Yeah.
say. And I can guarantee you that everybody on the other boards will listen to what you have to say. Whether you think we're listening or not, we are. I promise you.
Thank you. I'll be back.
Mr. Anderson,
Yes, sir.
looks like it's your turn.
Yes, sir. National Day of Prayer. I'm Charles Anderson, 3013 Frontier Lane. And National Day of Prayer is coming up May the 5th this year, 2022. It's on Thursday. The theme this year, ladies and gentlemen, is Exalt the Lord who has established us.
Yeah, that's right.
I just want to say this quickly. He is the one who establishes us. Whether we acknowledge it or whether we do not acknowledge it does not change the fact. And let me just say, prayer. Of all the work you guys do, you work so hard. And I tell you, I sit there and I'm so thrilled that I'm American and that you have voices, that you can come and you can speak, even when we're all tired and want to go home. You have that right, and you exercise it. And boy, I'm glad you do. And I want to tell you, prayer is the fuel that makes all this go. God is the one that gets it done. And so I want to just encourage you. Don't just write that off. On May the 5th, I mean, you may not be used to praying. I'm not going to embarrass you. You're not going to have to go pray out loud. Just kind of stand there at that flag.
7 a.m.
7 a.m. on that morning. We'll be there for just a few minutes. We're going to pray together. And I want to tell you, when you pray, God listens and things begin to happen. And all I got to say to that is amen.
Amen.
Like it or not.
I don't think Holly gets up at 7 a.m.
Oh, by the way, I do have these beautiful posters, and they're for you. If you have a place to put them, I'll really appreciate you taking. We have 11 churches in Millersville, and
Oh my
we've gone to
goodness.
all those churches. And thank you, Commissioner Tommy Long. He did the driving in that big yellow pickup truck, and I did the legwork. And we got it done and had a lot of fun doing it. But we got these things. I want you to help us promote it, get the word out, and join us at 7 o'clock on May the 5th. Right in front. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
Chairman Fennell, 1138 Bridgeville Road, and I'd just like to ask again, I don't know who posts minutes and agendas, that type of thing. This time it was on there 4 days before the meeting, but most times the day before the meeting. But then there's no clarification as to what the resolution is you're voting on. They typically, they'll put the sheets on following it up, explaining what 22-71 is or whatever. It's not being posted, so it doesn't seem like real transparent or in full disclosure. Now, I do know, I'm not sure about their situation, but in 2005 and in 2008, there was some rezoning done on our road, and none of the neighbors, none of us got letters or anything, which I found out after the fact, it's not even legal. But none of us got letters, nothing was posted, and it got pushed through, and then, of course, I felt like everybody at that time was working on the premise, it's easier to get forgiveness than it is to get permission. But as I don't necessarily have a dog in their fight, but the infrastructure, I do question, because if you look at the creeks in the winter, they got soap suds floating on top of them and everything. You keep giving permits and there's so many septics, the ground can't leach it. And then aside from that, a road structure like the Small Living Good, they built so many homes up there and the road hasn't been widened. If there's a wreck on that road, you can't get around it. The ditches are too deep, that's it. They're just shut down. And they just keep building and building and building. At some point, you either got to put the infrastructure down first or do something because
Living Good's not in our city.
On everybody.
Living Good's not in our city.
No, it's in yours. I thought on one side of the road where Mr. Lynn's property. used to
There's
be
some
a road.
property that the driveways come off of that road, but none of the road is in our city. That's Ridgetop in Robertson County.
See, Bethel Road ain't a whole lot better than Lincoln Good. It is better, but not a whole lot better. But, if a person lives there, and I know everybody thinks, oh, we're all getting rich and all this stuff. Myself, I just want to raise my family and
We don't do septic systems there, it's all sewer.
Well, I know on our road they did, and then when the EPA came out, remember we had that situation years ago? They said, well, there should never been a building permit given, and that's the Southern County, that's the Millersville, and it's kind of, everybody throws their hands up.
If it's on the septic system, we cannot legally give septic system permits. That has,
You can't-
that has to go
Once you
before.
gave the building permit, then Bo Fox went on out there and gave a septic permit, which none of it complies with the laws or the rules. And then EPA, as I say, it gets back to forgiveness and permission, because it said once it had been granted, then was that grandfathered in. It's just, I don't know, everybody's trying to get rich off real estate. I'm out there for my acreage myself, I can make a good living off of it, but that ain't where I'm not after the cash, that's what I need to do. I just want things left where they're not trash and dirty and all that, and feel like the whole place is. But if they could, post the minutes and agendas and get all the documentation up there, because the citizens need to know all the full disclosure of everything. Nobody knows what 22-771 is.
We will, we'll see if we can work on that.
Yep.
Anyone else? Last chance. All right, city manager's comment.
Just real quick, just to remind the commissioners, we have, we need to do an all-day work session on May 2nd. That'll be our first budget session, so if you all can work that in your schedule, we'll probably start and do all day on May 2nd. So that is
7,
work
8,
session,
7, 8, 9,
so
10.
9-ish maybe.
9-ish.
That's our work session day, but I'll talk to you guys about that. Just want to give you a heads up to be looking at that date. We'll be discussing, of course, the budget, Station 2, the street projects, because we'll have our hopefully we'll have first reading on the budget at our regular session meeting on May 17th. And based on posting that city manager job posting, my last day will be May 18th. It'll work out my 45-day notice. So that'll be my last day on May 18th. You want to come by and say farewell? Thank you very much. You won't? That'd be good too. So that's all I have.
All right, item number 23 is commissioners' comments. Mr. Long.
No, sir, I don't have anything
Mr.
to
Bell.
say.
Not at this time.
Mr. Gregory.
Yeah, I do. I'd like to thank Public Works, Jerry Ray, for the job he done. I think it was Wednesday morning, a bunch of trash was dumped out on our road, 31W south side, just to get to the boundaries. And I called Jerry and asked him if he could come, that it was down there. I didn't tell him to come get it, I said it's down here. Time I got home, got a few shorts done, got a little, my wife's work out of the way, I got a vest and a little thing, go down there and pick up some trash. Time I got down there, he had it all picked up. And I want to thank Public Works for that. Thank you, Jerry.
Definitely. Anything else? Ms. Template?
No, sir.
I only have one thing, or actually it's a couple things. I'd like to acknowledge Steve and thank him for all the hard work he's put into the city for the last couple years. As the mayor, I hate to see him go, but I understand the circumstances. Also, I'd like to congratulate Holly. I know she works very hard here. She's anybody that don't know what budget books are, she never has a finding in her budget books, and I think we have as good a person doing our finances as we could find anywhere. Also, I'd like to thank all the employees for the years that, for the last 10 or 12 years, they've all worked hard. I've enjoyed being around all the employees. I think we have as good a group of people in this building and people that are not in this building anymore as any city in Tennessee. At the conclusion of this building, I have decided for personal reasons, I'm going to be stepping down as mayor and also as a commissioner. And I wish the city nothing but good things, and anything I can do to help, I'd be more than glad to help. The one person that I would really like to thank is my wife. We've been together for close to 40 years, and she has always supported me in everything that I have done. And I believe I am married to as good a woman as there is on the face of this earth. So with that, I'm going to turn the meeting over to Mr. Bell.
I appreciate you
Yes, sir.
more than you realize. And stand up, let everybody see you.
Yeah, I don't wear a suit all
He doesn't wear a suit. The Board of Commissioners, as well as the employees here, are presenting this to Tim Lassiter. Tim's been here forever. His family's been here forever. I kept asking him, is this what you want to do? What does Jennifer think? I want to make sure Jennifer goes along with this. We may have disagreed on occasion, but we've always worked together for the betterment of the city. And truly, I do know that you have this city as part of your heart. I do know that. And I appreciate all you've ever done.
Well, I appreciate everybody on this
And
board.
we want you to keep that.
I appreciate all of y'all, and I'll be around. I ain't leaving. I've never lived anywhere but here, so I'm not going anywhere.
And I'm asked for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
All those in favor? Thank you.
I wish y'all all the luck in the world.